Hello, my name is Caroline Casey and I'm the founder of the Valuable 500, and I am delighted to be joined by Janet Riccio here with us today, the Dean of Omnicom University, a partner in crime and our very first interviewee for the Valuable Leader Conversations. And my heart is beating because we don't even know each other a year.
I know.
And now we are sitting here after launching the Valuable 500 together with Omnicom and Virgin Media in Davos on the main stage with the World Economic Forum.
Amazing, amazing.
So it is so exciting, and this would not have happened if it had not been for the leadership of yourself and Paul Poman and Richard Branson, and that just shows how important leadership is in this issue. So we are so thrilled to have Omnicom on as our strategic partner for the Valuable 500 in December 2018, and it was only months ago. So why do you think it was so important for the organisation, for the company, to make such a public stand for disability business leadership?
Well, first and foremost, did you see what I came in on?
Yeah.
My ride today is my wheelchair. So clearly there's a relevance and a heartbeat for me on this. But more importantly, Caroline, do you remember a year ago when you came into my office, when you talked to me first about Valuable? Before that even, you knew that Omnicom was committed to diversity and inclusion. And I want to put diversity aside. We are committed to inclusion.
Yeah.
And now with this happening to me, and knowing that there are people throughout our 70,000 employees who also face challenges, we are so committed to having disability as part of our inclusive agenda. We have a lens through which we look at life that's different than others, and it's so important for us to include that in everything we do.
I mean, like, you are a legend. You are a legend. Hold on, you led Omnicom Women. You're the Dean of Omnicom University. You really prove that when a leader stands out and does something, action happens. And to date, we haven't had any global leaders that have stand with and for disability. And disability has often been sort of the poor cousin on the inclusion agenda, and very rarely has reached board level. Like EY had a report to say 56% of our C-suite had never heard the word disability at board level. So with Omnicom coming on board and doing this, what do you think as leaders we can be doing to ensure that disability is equally included? How do you think that's going to work?
Well, I think that we're going to be doing that in a couple of ways. As you know, we've been working together for months now, and you've been working with some of the finest companies that are in the Omnicom family, doing film, website development, data analytics, everything we can do to support getting the message out. Because first and foremost, people have to be aware. When you quote a number like 56% had never heard of disability as part of an agenda, that is a communications issue.
Absolutely.
And what are we but nothing less than the best global communications company in the world.
Exactly.
So I think that first and foremost. Secondly, we also have 200 companies of our own. And I think that we are going to try to convince every one of them to really be actively participating as a committed member of the Omnicom family to this cause. And we also have a lot of clients that I think will be really interested in doing this as well.
So this is what we think is so exciting of having Omnicom as a strategic partner, because it's what we see and what we hear affects the way that we behave as individuals. And as you said, you are the biggest communications company in the world with access to over 5,000 brands. So that could be transformative. You're our greatest allies. And one of the key things that we have to remember, and you represent this, 80% of the 1.3 billion people in the world who have a disability acquire it between the ages of 18 and 64, but also 80% of that 1.3 billion is invisible. Now you sit here with me as a woman who, when we met a year ago, what was your experience of disability, and now what is it now? You're in that 80% of the people who acquire a disability. And how has that changed the way you work and see your job within Omnicom and your role?
Yeah, so as you know, I was diagnosed with ALS back in June. The biggest change for me has been mobility. I'm a person that walked all over Manhattan, all over New York. You wouldn't think twice about a 30-block stroll to my book club.
In your Jimmy shoes?
In my Jimmy shoes, exactly.
That you love?
Exactly. But today I can't walk a half a block without a walker. and I'm in a wheelchair when I have to go more than that, or on my scooter when I'm feeling really, crazy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that's so important for people to know. It's a physical problem. I am firing on all cylinders
Yes,
when it
you
comes
are.
to my brain. And I think that I was hired by Omnicom because of my brain. And that is still producing good thinking, good ideas, hopefully good advice, good counsel for everyone within Omnicom that I touch.
So this I think is really important. The other EY statistic that we learned is 7% of our C-suite have an experience of disability, but 4 out of 5 of them hide it. Like I hid my own disability when I was at Accenture.
Right.
So can I just first of all acknowledge coming out of the closet is not necessarily easy. Did you find that very hard to personally come out to your peers? And were you worried about what they might think about your capacity and ability?
I was, I think the first and foremost, I had to get into acceptance of within myself. When you're diagnosed with something like ALS, for which there's no cure, your immediate thought is, my days are very limited. And you can assume the fetal position, or you can just get on with it. And I get on with it. Once I was able to accept it, now I'm quite open about it. And my colleagues and my friends and everyone within Omnicom, they treat me no differently than I was treated before. They may put up with me a little more, I may get yes more than I get no, but I feel well loved and well hugged, and like I said, it's my brain. I'm not running relay races.
Well, I think it's actually your brain and your heart, and I just as we're going to finish, I just want to say thank you. I think it's really important. It is difficult for all of us who experience disability, who can get away with hiding it, maybe to come out of the closet. But I think by you doing that, it's inviting other leaders to do the same. And I think the more that we see people authentically leading as themselves, the more chance we have to create fully universally inclusive corporate cultures, which is, I guess, what we want, right?
Let's normalize disability. I encourage everybody to talk out loud about the things that are perhaps disabling, but maybe more abling in the end.
And the last thing we want to end on is, because I think most importantly, this is a growth opportunity and strategy. And I hope Omnicom are going to enjoy taking a very big piece of that pie, of the 8 trillion market, and get first mover advantage. But personally, thank you so much to you, and to Omnicom. And I can't wait to announce our valuable 500 in Davos in 2020.
I can't wait for it either.